I ran this idea past Jason, my parents, my friends, and everyone just sort of said, yeah, do it. So I couldn't find someone that would discourage me, which I was really hoping for that. But because of the positive feedback, this is where we are now. So we're going to be figuring this out together as we go. I am by no means a professional at podcasting. And yes, I have a degree in communication, but that means nothing because when I push my kids out, I push my brain out with them. I am going to be doing my best to just overall be honest. That's the whole premise of the show. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to start with honest thoughts on trending stories in parenting, social media, sports, entertainment. At least that's what my producers say. And I will say the other day, someone asked me what the podcast would be about. And my very simple summary was women, sports, and motherhood. So if any of those topics strike you as interesting, maybe this is the place for you. And then also each week, I'm going to get to talk to an incredible guest, people that I have absolutely no business talking to, like aggressively no business talking to. And as always, just stick with me. If you've watched another podcast that I know the hosts of, they got better with time too. So I would really appreciate some patience, please. Unlike my husband and my brother-in-law, I don't have all the time in the world. I actually have to watch their podcasts in segments. I have to break it up over the course of probably a week sometimes. No hate on them, but I don't have time like that. And I'm assuming that people listening to this are in a similar boat, busy, maybe moms that just don't have all day to be tuning into a podcast. So we will do our absolute best to keep this podcast under 45 minutes. That is including the guest interview so that you really feel like you haven't missed a thing. Coming up on the first episode of Not Gonna Lie, since this is a brand new show, we figured you guys should probably get to know me better. My producer, we're going to call her Queen Emma. That's because over at the other podcast, they have reduced an executive producer. This is spoiler alert, an executive producer down to an intern. That's right. You heard me. Intern Brandon is in fact an executive producer. But you know what we do over here? We lift people up, specifically women supporting women. So Queen Emma, my producer, suggested that we play a game of 20 questions. And I'm quickly going to negate myself by disobeying the queen. I'm busy. We're not doing 20 questions. We're doing 5-ish questions. That's what we have time for. After all that, we will bring on our first guest ever that I have, again, no business speaking to. But first, before we get to these 5-ish questions, I just want to take a second to thank everyone for the truly insane response to my show announcement. Apparently, the trailer was #1 on Apple Podcasts. This is news to me. How the fuck did that happen? It was like a minute-long clip, guys. I will take it. Thank you so much. I also got a ton of comments from you guys and wanted to read a few. So at K McKee, you know, you watch other people try to read handles and you don't think that it's ever going to happen to you. So here we are. If I butcher it, I'm so sorry. From at K McKee 88. Girlfriend is having a 4th baby and starting a podcast. I have 3 kids and am wondering if I can manage a shower today. Go get 'em, lady. 3 fire emojis. I would love to say that I manage a shower every day, but Kay, you and me might be in the same boat. I appreciate the encouragement, but you're probably doing a fantastic job. From at Nasland Matilda, oh my gosh, this is a train wreck reading handles. Kylie hosting a radio show and writing for the newspaper in college kind of makes her the most qualified in the Kelce family to do a podcast. It was about time. Matilda, thank you so much for that vote of confidence. Lower the bar. Lower it. I need those expectations. I need you to bring them down. Okay. Cabrini Communications Department, specifically Jill Smith with the radio. We did do podcasting courses. Okay. Jay-Z, my journalist professor, outstanding. Really, Don I could shout out every professor I had in the communication department. Outstanding squad. Still doesn't mean I'm qualified for this. The next person from @Geraldine. That's actually a really cool name if that's actually your name. And I got that right. I'm seated. The podcast employees are scared and asking me to leave because it's, quote, not December yet, but I'm simply too seated. Thank you so much. I did see a couple people say they are seated. I have since, based on context clues, figured out what that means. I really appreciate that. There was a lot of commentary about me swearing in front of my children. A lot. Not in the initial bunch, but in the second wave, which brings me to the debut edition of a segment I'm calling, you guessed it, Fuck Around and Find Out. The New York Post fucked around with yet another headline. Kylie claims she curses in front of her children daily. What do experts say about that? The problem that I have here is, was it probably an exaggeration that I curse in front of my kids every day? Yes. Do I curse in front of my kids most days? Also, yes. But my kids know, like I said before, that they are grown-up words. They don't try to use them. They don't say them. They don't stop in their tracks. They're not appalled by them because I'm not using them at my children. They're just used in front of my children. I will say, if you say stupid, if you say shut up, if you say loser, they will stop you. Specifically stupid and shut up. Feel very strongly about those. You will get in trouble with my children. If you say those words in our house, those are bad words. We do not say shut up and we do not say stupid. Other than that, free range. I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, I'm teaching my kids kindness. I'm teaching them to be funny and strong and independent. They'll probably curse when they're older. And I stand by that. If they choose not to, that's okay too. At the end of the day, I'm trying to raise good little girls into strong, independent women. And last time I checked, I shouldn't have to censor myself as a independent woman. And that does it for my first installment of Fuck Around and Find Out. I'm very excited to shout out my first sponsor here on Not Gonna Lie because we landed Dunkin'. When I say I love Dunkin', I mean it. I stop by my favorite Dunkin' location almost every day after dropping the girls off at school. You know, in the movies and TV shows, when people go into a restaurant, they order the usual. That's the level I'm at with my Dunkin' people. I love them over there. And if you're wondering what my usual is at Dunkin', I'm about to tell you, and it might change your life. A medium, half decaf, iced coffee with almond milk, extra ice, and 2 pumps of the sweet nectar butter pecan. Okay? I was so into the butter pecan when they brought it in as a limited flavor that my field hockey team knew it. Knew it to the point that when they brought it back and announced that it was here to stay, my entire field hockey team told me the minute I showed up to practice. And that's love. Make sure you order my favorite butter pecan iced coffee at your local Dunkin' today or order ahead of time on the Dunkin' app. You're going to thank me. Let's get to the 5-ish questions from Queen Emma. Number 1, has Betty come around since the pregnancy announcement photo you posted? No, No, she absolutely has not. When I tell you that Benny feels deeply and personally victimized by the fact that we chose to give her another sibling, I mean that with my whole chest. She, when other babies or little kids come over and they try to sit in my lap, she physically removes them. So we are about to ruin her day. That pregnancy announcement got some responses. One in particular on TikTok by @LibbyLouWho. Thank you for making that an easy handle, by the way. They made a response that I absolutely loved. Let's take a look.
I'm not a comedian, but I know that there is a joke in there somewhere after seeing Kylie Kelce's pregnancy announcement and her beautiful girls that look exactly like her husband, Jason. Kylie needs to bring genes for Kylie in this pregnancy, in this child. Oh my gosh. But they're all adorable.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. We are so lucky that my husband makes cute girls, that if you make him into a little girl, that we've made adorable ones. Because when you look at Wyatt's baby pictures and Jason's baby pictures side by side, it looks like we have cloned him. And I complained a lot when Wyatt arrived that it looked like I had nothing to do with it. And if I had not pushed her out myself, I would not believe that I had any part in making her. Then I got Ellie, who now the internet has run away with the fact that she looks like Travis, which I am slightly offended by. I will share with Queen Emma a photo of myself from when I was a child. I was blonde. I had one dimple. I very much feel as though Ellie could pass for looking like mom. So if we could hop off the whole Ellie looks like Travis train, that would be greatly appreciated, because that's the only one I have any chance of having any claim to when it comes to looking alike. Let's see what jury's still out on the fourth one, but Benny is definitely another Jason lookalike. So trust me, LibbyLouWho, I am trying desperately here to make a child that has any resemblance to me. On a more positive note, people in the comments did mention that their sons looked like them. We don't have that recipe. So number 2 question. This is not going to lie after all. So can you be honest about pregnancy? Yes, I can. I always say I am so incredibly grateful to be able to get pregnant. Unbelievably grateful. I have realized in my adult life that it is not as easy to get pregnant as we were originally led on to believe in high school. Okay. You can't just look at someone and whoop, there it goes. It's not that easy. And so I am so incredibly grateful to be able to get pregnant. But it is a means to an end. When I tell you that I cannot stand being pregnant, I mean it. I don't have a fun time. I am nauseous for most of my pregnancy. It tapers off a little after the first trimester. For every single one, it's been the same. It tapers off a little bit. But I continue to have nausea throughout my pregnancy. I have had aversions more than cravings for every pregnancy. When you're super pregnant and someone comes up to you and says, "Oh, isn't this just the most beautiful thing ever?" I want to punch you in the face. I'm not going to, but I want to. I know that it's a girl every time. I've known this since we found out Ellie was a girl. Benny and this baby, I have known both times that they were girls again. We've never done a gender reveal. I'm not big on gender reveals because I do think there's always some degree of bias, whether you realize it or not. To be completely transparent, when we found out we were having Ellie and Ellie was a girl, I cried for a solid 30 minutes. I'm not talking about like that I was sad. I'm talking about a full heaving cry for 30 minutes because I felt different in the beginning of that pregnancy. And I had somehow convinced myself in my subconscious, not even knowingly, that it was a boy. And so when I heard that it was a girl, I completely lost it. And to be clear, I hold only the slightest bit of guilt about that because then we met Ellie and she was the sweetest, most lovely little girl, and she still is. But there's always this underlying, you kind of lean in one direction. I always tell people we want healthy babies. Everyone thinks we went for a fourth to try for a boy. I knew we were going to get a girl. So I want healthy babies. I've said on my TikTok that I had a loss before Wyatt. And so it made pregnancy a different experience for me. So healthy babies, that's what it is. That's what we're looking for. But I do not like being pregnant. It's not fun. 0 out of 10, do not recommend. Since I have not had the joy of having a ton of cravings, I would love to hear what some of yours are. I do find, especially this pregnancy, that sometimes when people say something, usually it's not a funky pregnancy craving. It's just a specific food that I then want it. So maybe we can set off some cravings. Tag me on TikTok with some of your pregnancy cravings. I would love to see what they are. Maybe we could even try some out. Our handle is @NGL with Kylie. And if we don't try them out, at the very least, we can talk about them on the show and maybe get an initial reaction for some really funky ones. Question number 3. It's well known that you watch the kids while Jason podcasts. Will Jason be watching the girls while you do this show? How do I say this nicely? No. When I have to do something, coaching, something for Eagles Autism Foundation, something for podcast, a doctor's appointment even, I will schedule childcare. My husband could tell me 72 times that he is going to be in the house during the times when I have to leave it. I will still schedule childcare. And it is not a knock on my husband. My husband is busier than he has ever been. I see him less now in retirement than I did when he was playing football. We had a set schedule then. Now it is an absolute free-for-all. He is working so hard and really grinding right now. And so I just make sure that I'm covered. And if that means that he's at the house and someone else is there just to cover or make up the difference, then that's what we have going on. But he will not be watching the kids. He's not watching them right now. I think he's in meetings. Question number 4, can you try to describe to people what the last 2 years of your life have been like? How much time do we have? The last 2 years have been interesting. When I said that I prefer to be behind the scenes, I very much meant that. I don't love to have attention on me. If we're going to get really deep in the weeds, I think it has something to do with the fact that I've always been very tall. And so I've always been trying to distract from you don't need to stare at me. I know I'm tall. I don't like attention on me. And so the last 2 years have forced me to find a way to turn it into a positive, to figure out how to control the narrative, and to embrace it. And I think that perfectly sums up why we're here. I think that there definitely were layers to it. The fact that I was super pregnant with Benny when the Eagles and the Chiefs played in the Super Bowl, and I brought my OBs with me. It doesn't help when your husband and brother-in-law are rooting for you to give birth inside of an NFL stadium. I'm still holding a grudge for that one. They're lucky it didn't happen. And then the documentary hit. I think that it is, again, I have very much found a way to embrace it and find ways to spin it to be positive. I have increased visibility, which then makes it so that things that I talk about have increased visibility. And if I can do things to impact field hockey, women's sports in general, different philanthropic endeavors or charities that I feel strongly about, then we can we can take a positive spin on this. So, although I would prefer to have dug a hole in the backyard and hidden it, here we are. Question number 5, of these 5 places you've claimed you had no business being, which do you have the most no business being at? WrestleMania, in a music recording studio, haha, Milan Fashion Week, the Today Show, and the Paris Olympics. I'm going to go ahead right out of the gate and say I have the least business being in a music recording studio. I would say a close second runner-up is probably tied for Milan Fashion Week and WrestleMania. I went to Milan Fashion Week because one of my dear, dear friends, Elena, was inviting me to be a guest of hers to a couple shows. And it was an incredible experience that I really genuinely had no business being at, because I am one of the most unfashionable people you'll ever meet. I wear my white chucks, cuffed jeans, and a plain t-shirt pretty much every time you tell me to leave the house when I can't wear athletic clothing.
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's romance burst into public view in 2023, instantly drawing attention from fans and creating endless headlines. Now, social media is buzzing with new rumors after several TikTok videos claim that Taylor is pregnant with her first child. The posts, especially one from user JokeJive235, said that Swift's low profile lately is because she's expecting, although no proof has surfaced and neither Taylor nor Travis has addressed the topic. Alongside the pregnancy rumors, fresh gossip claims the couple, said to be engaged, has signed a prenuptial agreement packed with emotional promises. The viral videos spread the story that Swift and Kelce briefly hit a rough patch and paused wedding plans, but then reconciled and took steps toward their future together, including this much-talked-about prenup. Allegedly, the agreement includes generous terms for Kelce, such as Swift donating a large sum to his charity and splitting profits from her tours, music royalties, and other projects equally with him. These details have not been verified and no official documents or statements have been released by either party. Still, the internet can't stop talking about it, and fans are watching every move. Subscribe for quick updates if you want the newest on their story. The rumors about the prenup also mention that Swift has promised to take long annual vacations with Kelce, each one lasting around 2 months, with favorite destinations like Paris and Nashville being mentioned in the supposed deal. There's even talk that once she finds out she's pregnant, Swift would cancel her tour dates and devote herself entirely to raising their child until the baby can talk. The idea of Kelce being moved to tears by Swift's commitments and generosity in the prenup has spread rapidly, despite absolutely no confirmation from reliable sources. Pictures of Taylor cradling her stomach have added fuel to the fire, with hashtags like #TaylorSwift and #TravisKelce trending for days. Yet, the couple remains silent, neither confirming nor denying the viral claims. All the while, fans and media outlets are piecing together every detail from anonymous posts and speculative videos, trying to guess what's really going on behind closed doors. The story of the pause in wedding plans is another hot topic, with some claiming the couple had disagreements but managed to work things out in private, moving forward with renewed commitment. The supposed prenup, which is still just a rumor, allegedly includes Swift's vow to make yearly donations to Kelce's foundation, which would mean millions for his charity if true. Fans are also obsessed with the idea of the couple sharing all of Swift's tour profits, a rare move for someone of her star power, but again, nothing is confirmed. The annual, undisturbed vacations, lasting between 60 and 70 days, are another point of fan fascination. This rumored agreement has only added to the fairy tale narrative that's been building around the pop superstar and the NFL player. If you love following celebrity couples, don't forget to hit subscribe. Meanwhile, Swift's absence from the public eye is being analyzed by fans, with every social media post or lack thereof seen as a possible clue. The couple's silence on these rumors has done nothing to slow down the speculation, and as the alleged agreements circulate, online communities continue to debate their authenticity. Some say the prenup details are too generous to be real, while others believe Swift would do anything for love. The fascination with Taylor and Travis shows no signs of fading, with fans waiting for any sign, post, or official word about what's next. Until then, the story is fueled by viral posts, blurry photos, and the never-ending curiosity of millions who want to see how their love story unfolds.